This is Mother Ulterior. Welcome to my realm. Now I'd like to try something a little bit different today. I'd like to try a thought experiment. So what I would like you to do is to imagine a world, a realm, where Hollywood did not exist. Let's say that if you had your city and the only entertainment via screen for film that you could get was output by a private film club, and that this private film club would hold screenings in the city center, once a week, once a month, I don't know. But let's just put ourselves in this world for the next few minutes. Now at this private film club, the membership fees are very expensive. So the regular Joes, you and me, we can only hope of maybe one day winning the lottery, right? And joining. Then we get a shot to learn how to make film, star in those films, maybe see our face on the screen in the city square screenings. Just once, But for now, it's accepted that it's the richer families in town, the politicians, the mayor. These are the people that make up the private film club. So in this new world that we're imagining, the only exposure people have to a film is to go to these screenings by their city's private film clubs. Now at first, it's a family affair. People bring their children to it. They seem, for the most part, wholesome, thought-provoking. The people that are in this film club are very good actors, and because they are on these screens, they achieve a level of public recognition now. So for example, if you're out in the city and you see one of these film club members, you notice them. I saw them in that movie last week. They begin to hold an aura, something about seeing someone on a screen, or ourselves even, holding everyone's attention captive like that. There's a coolness to it. We don't know why. It's someone that you don't know and you've never met, but there's a recognition there now. I saw you on that screen. Now these people, they seem to like this notoriety. Their film screenings are popular enough that the club begins to have, a little bit of extra money. These people start holding huge parties. You do notice that when you go out on the town and run into some of them, they always seem to be the messiest, the loudest, the lewdest. But you just shrug it off. I saw them in that screen that one time. Now over time, the films that this little club has made begins to take a turn. A small one at first. The first time the film club ever featured a screening that had a topless scene made everyone gasp in the audience. For a couple of months afterwards, the woman who had played that part, whenever she went out in public and was recognized, she would get salacious leers, from the men, or judging looks from the women in the streets. But, it also increased the popularity of these movie screenings. The word got around in your city. Hey, did you hear? The film club is now making movies that show flesh. You know this person, right? She's related to that guy in this film club? Yeah, I saw her boobs. So the word spreads. The film club becomes even more popular. And given that there was an initial outrage that eventually died out, the film club became more brazen now. They start pushing the boundaries. They challenge themselves. What can we put into our films that only we understand, that'll go over the heads of these peasants, these people that pay to see us, instead of doing their own thing? They give us their money. They let us get away with it. What else can we put in front of them? Now you begin to notice on some film nights, say perhaps you brought your child or a relative with you, what used to feel innocent and safe, you start to realize that there's at least one moment in their films now, or a couple moments, that makes you feel uncomfortable viewing it once you've got a child beside you. And this is new. You feel, I don't know why is this scene, this one scene in this film? I don't remember it being this risque when I was too young to get these jokes. But you shrug it off. After all, this is the local film club. They're an institution. They are renowned in your city as the source of films. I mean, what else are you going to do? Read a book? Now, as the years go by, you start noticing that every other week in your city, there's a headline about a member of this film club dying, overdosing, breaking down, alleging abuse or rape. Sometimes this seems daily. And now and then it makes you wonder, what goes on in that film club? In this private film club? You especially begin to notice that the people who joined this private film club when they were very young, as children, you know, some of them were children in these film club movies while you were a child, going to their film club screenings. You really begin to notice that almost all of these people who entered and began very young seem especially susceptible to drug issues, alcohol issues, relationship problems, and over-sexualized behavior in public when you go out. You see them and how they behave and how they dress, and you just realize this was a child in my city, and this child joined this private film club, and now this child has come up in that film club and emerged like this. I mean, you might just be a regular Joe in your little neighborhood, in your suburb, in the city that this film club is in, but you don't see this happening this regularly around you. It must be something in the club itself. And one day you're talking to your neighbor, and he tells you that he thinks the club is really full of pedophiles and perverts. Now this is too much. You laugh at your neighbor. Come on. I mean, I've heard about what they did to the grown women, but pedophiles? Child abuse? That's crazy, man. Your neighbor might tell you, you know, but look at this scene. How do you think they filmed that scene? Whose child did they get to play this part and say these things? Why did this character make that joke? Why did this director film that scene from that angle? And you laugh at your neighbor some more. You're seeing things that aren't there, you tell him. Maybe you should wear a tinfoil hat. I saw that at one of the film nights, yeah. A tinfoil hat, that was funny. Hey, that was about you. Yeah, you should put a tinfoil hat on. Now your neighbor doesn't give up just yet. He reminds you, haven't you seen all the whistleblowers, all the members of this private film club that have come out and told us that this has happened to them as children? Haven't you seen how many have been arrested? Haven't you seen how many have died? Haven't you heard about what they say happens inside the secret film club? Okay. You have a point there, you tell your neighbor. I concede that. But why are you so obsessed with it? They're getting arrested, right? I mean, are you actually trying to tell me that the art this film club produces is going to reflect their inner sickness? Are you telling me that the output of this film club is now poisoned because the people that run and join the film club are involved in these things? Surely you jest. You actually believe that art is a reflection of the artist's inner world? You really must be crazy. They'd never put that in their movies. Why would they produce art that reflects something inside of them? That's not happening. You're nuts. So you stop speaking to that neighbor, and you keep going to these film nights. You congratulate yourself now at just how much you're able to handle. You remember the jokes that used to make you uncomfortable, that made you shift in your seat, and you laugh now. You can handle so much more, and you don't feel uncomfortable anymore. Now then one day, it's headline news. The film club's accountant has been arrested for pimping out children to members of the club, the board members, and your town's elected officials. Whoa, maybe my neighbor was right. And then the next night, you shrug it off and go to another of the private film club's screenings. You hand your money over to consume the art that was produced by the people you now know really were pedophiles and perverts and abusers. And you tell yourself this every time. More and more and more news comes out. And as the directors themselves, the script writers in this club, this private club that dominated the only entertainment for film in your city, the people you trusted to entertain you begin to get exposed as pedophiles and perverts. You begin to notice that at least some of their art did indeed reflect this inner condition. Oh wow, that scene is so different now, you say. Or that song suddenly has a different meaning now. But I like it though, you tell yourself, as you introduce your child to your favorite movie from the private film club archive. You squash down the uncomfortable feeling inside you every time this film club member appears on your screen. You squash down that feeling that tells you maybe you shouldn't support their art anymore. And you keep watching. You've now learned that this private film club was indeed infested, run by pedophiles, perverts, abusers, rapists, and more. That these were the inner worlds that was creating the art that you consumed, that you invested your time and money in. You never stop to question just how much you've now seen because of these people and their art. How much sex have you seen? How much degradation? How much humiliation? How much violence? How much debasement? How many images of children making jokes that they shouldn't be making in situations they shouldn't be in, if we were being really honest with ourselves? How much of this private film club's art have you subconsciously absorbed into your own internal world? If you had been given a choice from the start to honestly know what kind of people were behind the art, the films, and the music from this club. If you were informed at every private film club screening you attended in your city that the art you were about to consume was created by people who were pedophiles and rapists and perverts and drug addicts and abusers, would you still buy that ticket? If you were given the choice to support these people with your money and your mind, would you still give it to them? You have that choice. You do have this information. Or are you just going to shrug your shoulders and say, I like it though. This is Mother Ulterior. Have a blessed day.